Speaking of thinking, I'm going to take a break from politics because it's Friday night. Let's turn to what I believe is one of the stories of our times. The fact that South Indian cinema has now come to rule the box office across the country like never before. This week, KGF 2, the latest release, made its way to the 100 crore club in Hindi in just 2 days. It's already crossed 200 crores in just 4 days, the fastest ever entry. And in 1 week has reached 250 crores, which is the first film to do so quickly, beating Baahubali, also from the south. KGF's success comes right after two other movies from the south, RRR and Pushpa the Rise, also rocked the box office. I'm joined today by the KGF men, by Yash, who's become the star, and Prashanth Neel, the director of KGF 2. Appreciate both of you joining us. Yash, Prashanth, you're laughing your way to the box office. I want both of you to tell me first, did you ever expect, Yash, this kind of success? This is stupendous. You're breaking every record in Hindi cinema. Forget about Kannada cinema and other languages. Did you expect this, Yash?
No, I kind of wanted it. We hope to get this kind of response. But looking at the way my teaser was received and the trailer was received, we kind of had a hit. But the way people have turned out, and yeah, it's overwhelming for sure.
It's overwhelming for sure. Prashanth, yeah. I mean, as a director, when you make a film, it's one thing to make KGF, which is a box office hit. Then 3 years later, you come up with KGF 2, and it becomes even bigger. Normally, sequels don't always work. So what's the success formula?
I think we stuck to our story, sir. To begin with, I don't know how the appreciation for KGF came in. I was not totally on board. Everybody else believed, basically it's not just the scale that has to work sometimes, it is in the totality, the soul of the movie has to work. And I think that call was taken by the producer and Yash, they were the first audiences. So they, thought that it was right that we take this step. And of course, Baahubali had already done that for us. We knew that there was a lot of tolerance and acceptance for movies coming from the South. And we're proud to represent it a little further.
For our viewers, especially who may not have seen it, it's this film built on an epic scale, macho heroes all over it, lots of violent scenes. Prashanth, you used a word in an interview which I like, that the secret of the film is anti-gravity. Can you explain what you mean by an anti-gravity film, Prashanth?
I think that was misquoted a couple of times. The fact that we in the South make movies that are centered around the heroes. I think we have a strong base to support something like that. It's a culture for us for the last 30 years, and I think recently, you're seeing the Avengers and you're seeing all these other movies from outside which are more acceptable than what we are doing over here. But I think the anti-gravity does not, it's a smaller word for us to use, anti-gravity. I think it is just to show a side, it can also mean an emotional side, right, to a man's journey. And that is sometimes protracted, in a way where people start to call it all these other terms. But we have a strong soul behind something like that. So I think that word is somehow misconstrued.
Because as I said, Yash, one of the secrets, it seems, is just these macho heroes. My son says this is my generation's Rocky. By the way, my son lives in Karnataka. So he says we all went, his entire college went to see the film. And they said it is, it's our generation's Rocky made in Indian style. Is that the violence, the sheer violence in such films? One hero takes on 100 people. Escapism, some would say, but what is the secret of this?
See, it's basically even when I say violence, there is a dialogue in our film. It is a stylized thing. We always keep family audience in mind, and we always want them to sit and enjoy the movie. I think somewhere from the childhood, we are used to this thing, and we know where to take it seriously and where not to. And that's a culture here. And when you call it action, when it is choreographed and it looks stylized, there is another expectation out of it for every audience. So I personally believe it's more about the story and the journey of the character and relatability, even when it is portrayed as a larger than life with a lot of action and all of that. But what connects is always about the emotions and the kind of there is a logic in everything. We Indians, we have that special talent to blend in songs in between movies. Nobody asks a question because you're used to it, and you miss it. You kind of miss it if that is not there. So I think there are so many such cinematic language where people are already used to it. It's just that sometimes it's blown out of proportion or discriminated, saying this is a style. What do you call that? Anti-gravity and all of that. But I feel people, once they connect, it's story what gives them that high, and that's where people connect to the cinema.
Let me play one of that dialogue, the violence dialogue that has gone famous, and then I want you to respond to this. Listen in, viewers, to this dialogue, which has really now gone viral in KGF 2. Listen in.
Violence, violence, violence. I don't like it. I avoid. But violence likes me. I can't avoid.
I don't like violence, but violence likes me. This is going to become iconic like Kitne Aadmi The in Sholay. I mean, everyone is coming out of the cinema talking about this one line. Yash, are these lines spontaneous? I mean, what is the idea? Are these one-liners important in a way to show this macho hero who's the center in a way of the picture?
I think it's about, according to me, it's a humor. When there is a lot of things happening around and there is an action sequence and he comes and it's a state of mind where he says, violence, violence, I don't like it, I avoid, but violence likes me. It's a humor and trying to show that he's being cool there. And I think it is always important for us to understand that why people come to theater. With all those storytelling and all of that, they need entertainment. If I just make it a very serious conversation, it may not look like a cinema. So these are the things where they enjoy and they apply it in their daily life. You can use it by saying controversies, I don't like it, but controversies likes me, I can't avoid. Every day you have to sit on a prime time and you may have to discuss about certain things. I think I've seen that a lot of students are relating it to exams, and I think that's about the essence. It's more than what line we have used. It's those relatable factor where they can apply those things in real life and they can have fun.
But the idea of, Prashant, of making these films on a scale, Baahubali started it in a way, in terms of Hindi cinema, suddenly saw the scale at which films were being made. Is that important to mount it on this lavish scale? Because, to get people to go away, say, from an OTT to actually go to a theatre today, you perhaps need that scale. Otherwise, I'll watch it at home on OTT.
Yeah, it's become easier, sir, now, for people to say that, more so now after the COVID has come and gone, people have, gone back to being comfortable watching, consuming entertainment at home. But I think the scale that we put in this movie was necessary. We started off with a story. It could have been any story. And I don't think necessarily that scale is what draws people to the theaters. When a Dangal becomes a very big movie, there was no scale in a movie, in something like that. But I think the overall emotion of what KGF is, I think that is one of the points that we banked on, the mother's emotion and the son's emotion and why he's so violent and what conflicts brings about all these things. And then the scale becomes the smaller picture. I know that is what draws people when we put it in trailers. But that was not the original intention. But yes, you're right. Somewhere scale plays an important factor for people to come to theaters.
What about special effects? We've seen this in sort of foreign films in recent times, the Spider-Man series, the Batman series. You know, this makes Spider-Man and Batman also look like, you know, kindergarten stuff.
Yes, sir.
Is that, yeah, I mean, do you have a, you know, is that an important element also? What kind of special effects can I put in? Do you have a, tell us what kind of a team do you have putting all these special effects together?
I think everybody. I mean, if you, it's come to a stage now. You know, you say this is the design, and production house puts in a lot of people to get you what you want. You know, if the budgets are right and everything else. I have my technical team. We grew up together, literally. My technical team and all these people have learned cinema on the go. My entire technical team, and we have learned cinema from cinema itself. So you know, we try and understand that trying to make something believable for those 2.5 hours is very important, and we try to put in a lot of emphasis for something like that. We don't have technicians to boast of from all over the world, but we have technicians whom we can call world class today, right over here in South India, and I was lucky to have some of them with me.
And I'm going to come to the South factor in a moment because I think that is critical to understand this phenomenon. But Yash, a friend has a question. Does Yash do his own fight sequences? Are you, because right through this film, the machismo comes out, the Rocky star, and you've got Sanjay Dutt opposite you on the other side. But have you done your own fight sequences always?
Yeah, most of the time. I think I love action, and we have grown up watching action movies. So I'm a little more charged up on the days where we are shooting action sequences. But at the same time, our technicians are so wonderful, like Unbelievable Masters. They took care of us really well, and it's a calculated risk we do. Initially, when I started, I've done some crazy stuff. I've jumped from a 24-story building and gone and hit the windshield of a car and all of that. Yeah, but now they don't let me do all that with a lot of budgets running on my head. And yeah, it's also about what kind of technicians you have, and it's a very calculated. It's not that sometimes a smallest thing can can go wrong, but it's about that professionalism and how well you calculate and do it. And our technician took care of me in a very nice way. So it's more or less people are flying. I'm not flying nowadays.
I want to ask you this though, Yash, because Kannada cinema, you had a period where Rajnikant was the biggest thing in Tamil cinema, and he slowly he was a nationwide superstar in a way, but not on this scale that even you've now achieved with this film, to be very honest. I mean, Rajni was the trendsetter, but is that important for you to establish yourself now as not just a Kannada star? Do you see yourself as a pan-Indian star, that today if you go maybe even to a Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, people will say, "Arey, aa gaya wo KGF wala."
No, sir, I think it's all about the technology and times we are in. Whatever Rajni sir achieved at that particular time, we should give that due respect, and we also should understand times were different, the technology and the way news travels. I think what they did back then was much more than what we are able to do today. I think with the technology and platforms, we will be able to get more recognition. At the same time, yeah, we also have to face our own challenges. It's not like you mentioned earlier, cinematic experience is what makes all these things. Stars are made in theater is what I believe, because of the big screen and the visual grandeur and the sound itself. It gives you a different kind of feeling. If you watch it in home, the impact is definitely, there is an impact, but it is different. So theater has always given us that thing, and there are many more stars in this country who have always done it. But I think I should call myself lucky to be in this era where people are with open mind, and they're accepting all the content, not just Indian regional content. It's also about a lot of Spanish series have been consumed here, and Korean stuff has been consumed. There won't be I think in short future, we will be seeing all languages, other foreign films also in theater. So it's just about that magic what theater offers you.
But you don't see yourself as a Kannada star, right? Now you see yourself as a regional star.
No, I will be. I always would be a Kannadiga, a Kannada actor, and a star. Yeah, see, when you have people who are watching you all across the country and they own you, then you don't belong to any one region. But in my heart, yes, I will always be a Kannada actor. At the same time, my intention, or most of the people who are trying this, is to gain more love and more affection from all the audience, and we'll call it Indian film industry. An Indian film coming from Karnataka, an actor from Karnataka who is accepted across the country would
Nicely
be a
put.
better way to say it. Yeah.
Nicely put. But Prashant, you've also got Bollywood with Sanjay Dutt, Raveena were there in the film, and you've got Yash, and you've got Prakash Raj. You're bringing them all together. So in a way, do you believe, like Yash is saying, these regional boundaries no longer matter? In the era of Rajni, there was a sense, he was from Tamil Nadu. There was a sort of association with the region, Kamal Hassan, Rajnikant. Now all the south-north boundaries are gone. What Mahendra Singh Dhoni has done with Chennai Super Kings, you've done with cinema. Prashant? Was it necessary to have good stars?
Sir, I think that was from the point of view of what the production house will always think about. But when they left the call to me, and when I'm talking to me, he's speaking Prime Minister. So that is why we went to Raveena Madam. And with Sanjay sir, it was when I wrote the character, I had always written that became easier after the release of chapter 1.
Right.
When you have a sequel that has a hit prequel, it becomes easier to approach somebody. And Prakash sir is somebody who always does Kannada movies and Telugu movies,
sure,
Malayalam movies, and everywhere. So he was a choice for those. I don't think we consciously sat down and we said, now become bigger, let's go for bigger actors. I think that happened very organically for us, I'm actually very proud of the production house and Yash for not pushing me to say that, this is for the market. So that, right now when people watch it on screen, they say this is a perfect casting, that makes me feel very happy about that.
I have one final question from you, sent from my newsroom. A 19-year-old has edited the movie. How did you trust a 19-year-old has edited your movie? Is that true?
Yes, sir. We always give our inputs. Me and Yash, we sit down and we give our inputs. And he was a 16-year-old boy when he joined us.
Wow.
And so he had basically, he was a fanboy. He's a fan of Yash from Karnataka. So he edited a short video of KGF 1, and somebody from the team, found that edit was very nice, and we brought him on board, and he showed so much of promise over the first year. And what the COVID has done to all of us,
sure,
we have all found a lot of talent hidden somewhere, so that helped us a lot.
Wow. Yes, you wanted to say a final word.
Yeah, Prashant, he himself is a very good editor, and Ujjwal is a fantastic, young boy who has really put in a lot of energy. But I think Prashant grooms most of the technicians. I'm just trying to be, he's trying to be modest. But Ujjwal has done a fantastic job. But I think in every aspect, he has brought in a lot of his knowledge, and he grooms talent. And it's a great thing that the whole production house and director have put faith in that boy. And he also has done a fantastic job.
Well, all I can say is
and age
that,
is just a number.
I want to say that I've only seen the rushes of the film. My son and his friends have already seen it twice. And, the fact is you've created a sort of new generation, the KGF generation it's being called. So Prashant and Yash, for breaking the kind of boundaries that you have and build this sort of iconic brand, congratulations with the success of the film. And may you both go from strength to strength. God bless, and thank you very much for joining me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
And that's a good way to end the show. Let me say namaskaram. As we end the show, have a good weekend. Go and watch KGF and whatever else you want to do in life. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubhratri. Jai Hind.